going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Best Bets, joined again by my man Gerard. Um, what can I say, man? So glad it's finally time for UFC 300. It's been it's been it's been pretty hard getting through these past few fight cards. So just finally glad that UFC 300 is here. Gerard, what do you have to say about this upcoming fight card?
This is definitely going to be a banger. This next card, I'm excited. There's a lot of potential spots here, and I think some of these fights will be closer than people think. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, same here, man. I got some juicy ass picks for you pure pickers today, so can't wait to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Why don't we start with your best bet, Gerard? What do you got?
All right. So for my best bet, I'm really trying to look for the value here. I could easily say Deiveson Figueiredo or Wei Lee, but I'm gonna change it up and I'm gonna say on this card, my best bet is the underdog, Charles Oliveira. Give me Du Bronx.
Damn, the illuminated one. I like that. Um, and for people that don't know, Charles do Bronx is my favorite fighter. Uh, it's just so exciting watching him fight. He just puts on bangers, man. So I really do like this pick. Tell the pure pickers why you have Du Bronx, the illuminated one.
So this matchup, Arman, he kind of has some strengths to what Makachev has, but I think he's still kind of raw, and we haven't really seen him face too much adversity in his recent fights. So, I mean, Tsarukyan has the tools in this fight to control the fight, but I see all of the finishing equity on Charles Oliveira. And the way I see it, the way Armand has to win is he has to play a perfect fight, get to a decision, win by points. And I think that's going to be very hard in this one against Charles. And I just feel like this is going to end up in a finish. And if there's a finish in this fight, I got to go with Charles. So, yeah, Charles is hard to bet against. And he's just such a dangerous, sneaky finisher everywhere in the octagon. So, at underdog odds, like around plus 190, I think that's a gift. So give me Charles.
So I'm gonna stop you real quick. Earlier you mentioned that for Armand to win, you think he would probably win by decision. Um, why do you think that his only win condition is to win by decision? Because we've seen Charles get finished. He can seem pretty flaky, I would say. Like he used to have I remember Justin Gaethje saying he was a quitter in the ring before, and so why do you think Arman, for him to win, it would be a finish? I mean, a decision victory rather than a finish.
When I see Arman, I don't think he doesn't have that sub threat on the ground. And him trying to ground and pound Charles, I think is very hard for him to find a finish that way. I think Charles just has too much threat on maneuvering to find subs, even on his back. And Armand doesn't want to be constantly stretching out to throw bombs on the ground and pound because he can easily find himself in a triangle choke or an arm bar. So I think Tsarukyan, his best shot is to play a perfect fight to a decision. And I'm not so sure if he can knock out Charles. He's gonna have to find that distance, and um, I think Tsarukyan can walk into something or get caught in a sub somewhere if he's too confident or overly aggressive.
So on that note as well, why do you think the line has shifted the way it has? So he opened as a plus 145 and money's been flowing into Arman and Charles is now a plus 190. So why do you think people have been betting on Arman?
I think it's just because he's the young, hot, hyped prospect who's similar in ways to Islam. And I think people think that they just have like this vibe that he's just all business and is he he's basically on that momentum of high confidence, still young. He's on a winning streak, and uh, he can't he can't see anybody beating him right now. But I think that's going to change when he faces someone like Charles Oliveira, who's put away guys like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and they both have a similar win in Beneil Dariush, who's Arman's best win. But Charles also did that as well. He also finished Beneil as well. So this is going to be the biggest step up, and I think Arman has to be perfect to win this fight. And one mistake can change the whole fight for Arman, I believe.
So I believe that, a lot of people are on Arman because, they watched the Charles fight against Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Islam. Uh, Charles is very hittable. Um, and, I think in all of those fights, he got knocked down. And uh, so I guess, can you tell us a little bit about what you think, on that end, how hittable Charles is and, if he were to get hit by a bomb from Arman, like what do you think happens there?
Yeah, I'm also on Charles' side because even when things go wrong, this guy still finds a way to win. So even if he makes a mistake, he can still win and find a finish. And that's something we haven't seen from Arman, who his best way is to fight closer to a perfect. In this fight, Charles doesn't have to be perfect to win this fight. And that's why when I see plus 190 on Charles, who can win without being perfect, I'm I think you got to take that all day.
No, I agree. I agree, man. I am also on the Charles side. Again, man, he's just my favorite fighter. Just watching him it's so exciting. Uh, I remember it's funny because like I was on the Justin Gaethje and the Dustin Poirier side, wanting them to win. But then after those wars with Charles, I'm like, damn, this guy is different. So he turned me into a fan. But yeah, he's amazing. So I like the underdog pick. I think it's at plus 190 is good value for sure. So why don't we move on and go through my best bet? So believe it or not, it's going to also be the same fight, although I'm not going to pick a side. I am going with the under 1.5 at plus 100. And the reason I'm going with the under 1.5 is because I actually think both fighters can find a finish. Again, I mentioned how hittable Charles is. His fighting style is he is constantly going to move forward. Uh, he doesn't he doesn't play the opponent's game. He only plays his game, and he makes the opponent play his game, essentially. And so one thing that I really like is, let's say Armin is able to get Charles down to the mat, you know. Um, Charles stays so active off of his back. He never stops, you know, um, not even just throwing up submission attempts, but off his back, just throwing elbows. Like if you watch that Beneil Dariush fight, when Dariush was on top, uh, Charles was doing, more damage than Beneil from bottom position, just throwing elbows up top and not just going for submission attempts. And so I think that's going to make Arman very uncomfortable. Um, but the same, like on the same token, right? Like Arman can, I can see Arman potentially getting a sub because, we saw how easy Islam got it with the arm triangle choke. And so, uh, like Charles does get hit, and I don't know, something about like these Brazilian fighters, man. I just feel like they're very flaky. And even though I love Charles, I can see why Gaethje would say, like this guy gives up because yeah, I mean, he just had a very poor showing in the Islam fight. And so I think Arman can potentially find a finish as well. And uh, so that's why I have the under 1.5. I think it's a Giga lock at plus 100. So I'm telling all you pure pickers, man, get into that line right now. It's gonna hit. I promise you guys. So, Gerard, what do you think about that pick?
I like the under. I just it's just hard for me to see. It's hard for me to see Arman submit Charles, even if he rocks him like a club and sub. I don't know if he can find that, and we haven't really seen too many uh, Arman Tsarukyan submissions, even on lesser fighters. So that's why I side with Charles to have the finishing equity in this fight.
Yeah, I agree. So for Charles, since you're picking him to win, what round and like what method do you think he's gonna win by?
Sub might be a play in this one. I'm not sure if it's round one or two, but throughout the week, I'll be looking at that round one or round two sub. Maybe find some sort of guillotine choke, triangle choke, or rear naked choke if Charles can find a spot there. So that might be a good play, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been watching a lot of Arman and Charles interviews. Like they both seem very confident. So nothing really to dissect from there. I think it's good that they both are confident. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be a super exciting fight. It's the fight that I'm looking forward to the most. Um, but I think this is going to be such a stacked card that, from the opening fight to the main event, it's going to be awesome. I really can't wait to watch UFC 300. Um, but I think, we'll end on that note. So there you guys have it. For Gerard, we have the Charles Oliveira straight pick money line, and for me, we have the under 1.5 Arman Charles. Gerard, you got any last words you want to say to the pure pickers?
We got a lot more bets on this card. This is just the best bets video, and I know James has some more picks, so we'll have that in the membership area at purepicks.gg.
Fucking go, baby.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, peace out, guys.